Hey, what's up? My name's Peter Howard at PA Howdy on Twitter. This is a member of the DLF family stream team. Stream team. I'm going with stream team. And not a podcast, just a stream every week where we talk about dynasty takeaways from weekly events that we hopefully can use to build or rebuild our teams wherever you happen to be at. We talk about last week's most recent events and most recent performances from different players that were expected or unexpected, and what it might mean from a dynasty take field. I don't know. If you have questions, put them in the chat. We mostly spend a lot of times just talking to each other about fantasy football, which is why me and everyone who comes on here enjoys that, because obviously we're a little obsessed. This week we've got Dynasty Outhouse back again, so we're very happy to see him back. And yeah, let's get to it, I guess. I was honestly going to start this with like a 5-minute complaint about my day, like I started to with you. I was like, I'm going to tell him. I'm going to tell him what a terrible day I've had this week.
We care, man.
Day I've had this week. That's my entire day, actually. Whenever I've been where I'm meant to be the last 2 days, I'm meant to be somewhere else, or I'm where I'm meant to be, or I don't have the right thing. It's been one of those couple of days, if you know what I mean. And also my student loans company sent me a letter and they were not polite.
they usually aren't.
They're like, hey, you know that thing, you should pay us for that.
I don't speak American. I don't know what that means. What?
Yeah, sorry, I live in Sweden now. Also interesting, I haven't seen this before. I tweeted out the link that we were going to be live today, and we got comments before we even went live. So Josh Morrow, I hope you're around. He asked us if anyone could help me make a decision. I greatly appreciate it. I'm in a Dynasty half-point PPR. Currently 2-5. Not looking good. Soon to be 3-5.
Looking a little better.
Yep. There you go. I need thoughts on trading CEH for Pollard, a 2021 first and a 2021 second.
All right, you read those years very wrong.
Yeah.
24 first and a 22 second.
Yeah, I did, didn't I? No. You should be looking to sell CEH. Your team's not winning, and I can't see your roster right now, although you did set another one.
Other RBs, there you go.
Yeah. CMC, Demont. Yeah, I'd be trading into next year. You lost CMC. I don't know when he's going to be back. By the time he's back, your record's probably worse. And same with David Montgomery. It feels like a build year.
But also, I mean, let's turn this into an actual takeaway. Khalil Herbert's playing well enough that he might take touches away from David Montgomery when he comes back.
Okay.
Like, he looks good. And in a different... Does David Montgomery look good? I mean, like, he always does pretty well, but he never really looks good doing it. It's just that we always know that he has the volume. We always know that, he's the dude. He might not, like, maybe he, like, concedes to a 70-30, 65-35 split, but I really do think you don't just sit Khalil Herbert down after what we've seen.
I haven't seen it, so hard to judge from that perspective.
We've learned that by now. But I got to be honest.
I know the stats. He's doing fine. I'll just say real quick. I normally default to running back is volume, and volume is mostly at the running back position a coaching decision. So if he really impresses in this time while David Montgomery's off, yes. But it's about that.
I got to be honest. Can you get much more than Pollard and a second for CEH right now? I don't really think so. So I know 24 is a long time away, but you're getting a first somewhere down the road more on top of what I think. I wouldn't feel great, but I might just accept it and trade.
Yeah,
so
I might. It honestly feels like I don't know. CH
because you could walk into next year with CMC, Montgomery, Carter, Gainwell, and have a good running back core.
True. That's almost why I'm more likely to hold on to him, because CEH is going to have a run of games between now and 2024 where he's more valuable than he is right now. That would be my bet, because I think he's a good player. I just don't think it shows up not a good fantasy, not what we hoped he would be as a fantasy player, put it that way. Or what we thought he could be, maybe. And so, yeah, I'd be looking to trade him, but I don't think I have to wait till 2020. Like, someone else in the league will give me an earlier first. And if the loss is Pollard, yeah, that's fine. I don't think I'm interested in Pollard if I'm not trying to win next week.
Yeah, he's never going to be a thing
Yeah.
long term, big picture. But
So
it's still a decent. I mean, value
it's not
wise,
that
I
it's
think
a
it's not
bad
bad.
offer. The offer, I get the offer. It's just I would shop around.
Yeah.
Maybe if you can change Pollard into a second, or a 2024 pick into a 2023 pick or 22 pick, anything like that would be better. And if you can't, sure, it's fine. It's fair.
Yeah, that's super fair. You pull the move where you just go to like everyone. Hey man, I got an offer on CEH. It's good. I'm probably going to take it. Would love
But
to get it something a little better. So what do you got? Like, do you want it? Are you interested? And see if you can get anything that will work on one or two people. So see if you can get a better offer.
Honestly, and most of my leagues, just so you know, you're not alone. Most of my leagues, I'm this guy this year, and they already know. It's like, I don't think I can win this year, apart from the one where I think I might possibly be able to win. They already know that, yeah, I'll take offers, and it's okay to send them then too. But yeah,
just don't be the guy that don't tell people, look, I have this exact offer from someone. That's kind of not cool. But say you have a good offer and shop around. It is never bad form. It is never a bad idea to shop around, especially if you have a trade that's good, but you don't necessarily love it.
I even tell the person who sent you that trade, it's like, look, it's good, but if I can get a first round pick a little earlier and drop Pollard from it, I'd be fine with that. So if you can't do that,
make it a 23, drop Pollard, and I say yes right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I'd be out, Josh. And yeah, probably trade CEH. It's fine.
Yeah.
Josh Morrow, he's talking to Josh Morrow. This whole thing happened when we weren't here. I think that's just awesome.
I'm glad there was people here to help him, though.
Yeah, right? Look back at games you lost without CEH, CMC. Jeez, I shouldn't be reading today. If you've been able to win with CMC, maybe make a different decision, I think is what Joe's trying to tell him. I think that's fair. I just don't know when Christian McCaffrey's back. And if it's way too late to make a difference, it doesn't matter.
Like if Montgomery still has another 4 or 5 weeks, if CMC comes back in 4 or 5 weeks, you're really week 12? That's a little late for a push.
And even if it's earlier, most leagues are based on scoring at least the record at some point. So even if your team is a competitor by the time the playoffs roll around, you might miss it anyway because of a stupid record. You what would it be, 7-8 or whatever, and you're not making it in. Okay, figured that. Jake just says trade CEH. I don't disagree.
Doesn't matter for what. He just says trade him. Yeah.
Trade anyone for the right offer, to be fair. Dusting Oz, evening gents. Here to say thanks. Last week I asked about Hurts trade value in Superflex tight end premium because I'm already set with Dak and Allen. Happy to say I moved him for a 2023 first and Rondo Moore. I think that's a good trade.
Yeah, that's pretty fair value, especially everyone's just terrified of his job stability right now.
Yeah, they're semi-worried that Gardner Minshew is even going to take over the role. And they're back to being league worst in pacer, by the way, so that didn't last long. But I don't know. I think it's a little too early to write the book, but you have no need to. You don't have to wait it out, so it's fine.
No, I think that's a good trade, especially because nothing Rondo Moore can do will make his value go down. The only thing that can happen is his value will go up. And honestly, nothing has to happen for his value to go up. DeAndre Hopkins and AJ Green getting older makes Rondo Moore's value go up.
Speaking of which, week 8, I think DeAndre Hopkins, it looks like he's been working his way into his traditional role to me. This week, they're going up against the Packers, and something that I've been looking at for my article this week, which I'll always end up writing after this show, even though I meant to do it before this show. But anyway, Green Bay Packers have been limiting production to everyone except like the true alpha or the true opportunity monster in that offense. So I think it might be another great Hopkins week. I'm a little more worried about AJ Green and Christian Kirk. But very much appreciate both of you. Thank you, Toronto Dave. We appreciate you too, I guess. No, that sounded sarcastic. No, we do. Character, top-notch, intelligent through. I'm not reading compliments. I'll just let you know that right now. I need to get a Cuban sub. Well, I hope you enjoy.
Oh yeah, go Daddy's Home, DLF YouTube. Fantastic freaking show, especially that first episode with the wonderful guest. That is this guy.
Fair. Everyone was always happy for an out on Montgomery. Most running backs.
Especially any running back that's injured, just go away.
Like, unless you're in the top 2 in a league, then you're like, give me all the running backs. Apart from that. Toronto, Niners back-end research and then analyzes. He's still saying nice things about us. Wait till Russ is in charge. Someone gave money, but I don't know who that goes to. Just to let you know, we appreciate it, but I don't know who's. I guess that's to DLF. That you Russ gets. Russ
it literally it showed up in my pocket.
Neat. You don't have to donate to answer, by the way, but we really do appreciate it. Any wide receiver to buy with a mid to late 2022 first for a really young but good rebuilding team. I guess the main target for buying in general would be Calvin Ridley right now, right? At wide receiver?
It depends how young. He says really young, but good. I mean, if you are at that point where you're young and good and you need those final 1-2 pieces to turn yourself into a competing team, I was going to say go for Calvin Ridley because you can get him ridiculously cheap right now. Or you can probably still get Mike Williams for just a random first, especially in 23 or in 22. Like, yeah, I would absolutely go do either of those just because those are guys that are cheap enough. But Mike Williams is scoring the points now, and there's no reason for him to stop. And free agent at the end of the year, so his situation can it get better? I mean, I don't really know, but like chances are, though, how well he's doing now in the offense they hope to keep going forward, they're probably going to sign him. So, and I hope that happens because I love that guy and him on that offense with, I almost said Joe Herbert, but that's, I think, the guy we were talking to before. Justin Herbert is awesome. So I love it. So those are the two guys that come to mind. Like, if you want to get, the problem is young wide receivers are doing too well. And I hate it because it's just impossible to buy young wide receivers. If you want to aim for young wide receivers you can get for a first, I don't hate on going to get Kadarius Toney. You have to pay a first. It feels like too much, but I think I do it anyway. Devonta Smith, that offense can't get worse, and he will only get better with more time in the NFL. I'm trying to think of who else. I mean, that's all that's coming to mind right now that I think you still, I mean, Devonta, you might have to add on top of that. But either way, I love going after those two guys right now. Chase Claypool, because with Ben being crap right now, his stock is a little lower than it should be just because there's no deep ball there. But next year when, hell man, even if Haskins starts, the dude Peter has a better arm than Ben Roethlisberger right now. So
no, I don't.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, I differ slightly just in methodology for targeting wide receivers. I like the older players. For instance, right now there's one guy in the top 12 who's playing before his third year. Is that the right way of saying that? Yeah, there's only Jamar Chase is wide receiver 3 in PPR points, and then you've got Terry McLaurin, who did finally, thank you, sneak into the top 12 in overall PPR points, and everyone else is playing in their 5th, 6th, 7th year, and the average age of a top 12 wide receiver is like 27. And so I tend to place a little. I like buying those older wide receivers for a first.
1000%. Like, I was listening to your conversation with Zach. I'm only midway through the second part of it, but I'm like hurting my neck, nodding yes the entire time. Where you're talking about production matters, points matters, winning matters, but it's just the fact this guy's situation where, well, this person, sorry, I don't know the ways of glory, but in a rebuilding team, like maybe going after a 28-year-old. By the time they hit 2 years, when maybe you're a real competing team, hopefully they're still doing what they're doing. I think there's less risk in going after Ridley, who's 26. So in 2 years, when he hits 28, he's in his prime. And if anything, if you're not ready to compete, you'll be able to easily move him to a competing team for good value.
Well, the thing you've got going on right now, which is what I'm building into, is that now's not when you buy old receivers because they're busy scoring their points and people like them.
Wait till the season
which is why Calvin Ridley comes to mind, because he's a old young receiver because he came into the league a little late. He's not scoring points, and so you've got this interesting mix of both. Mike Williams is good team old guy because people don't think it's going to continue next year, and so I agree with you there. So you've got as a rebuilding team, if that's where you're looking at yourself, you've got this awkward situation of some of the best players that I would target they're kind of at the most expensive right now. Like Cooper Kupp's being talked of as a dynasty wide receiver 1. I promise you he will not be the dynasty wide receiver 1 this offseason when everyone remembers his age. They'll be like, oh, no, he's going to die next year. And
I just got Cooper Kupp for T. Higgins and DJ Chark.
Okay, so not in your league. Yeah, and that's true too. You should always send offers because you never know.
That was sent to me, not going to lie. But
even better.
Yeah, they were looking to get younger, so they sent.
That's another interesting point. Like even when I go look at my contending in my leagues, the best teams are like, I want youth and picks. That's all kind of they want.
Yeah,
so
it's tough because you usually only have 4 teams that are competing. The rest of them are trying to rebuild a little bit.
But yeah, Calvin Ridley sticks out. Mike Williams is a pretty good name. I'm a little more scared of. Keenan Allen, same team, probably even less. People are even more disappointed, and I still think he's good.
He's great. He's a great, solid wide receiver 3 on your team.
But if you're looking for the guys that have that dynasty value because they're young, much more so than thinking about their production next year, then Rondo Moore, who we just mentioned, he's a good rookie people love, but he's not scoring points. He might find him in an interesting situation right now. Elijah Moore, still like him as a rookie. And this year's wide receiver class, the ones who are going to be wide receiver entering their second year next year.
Either of the Baltimore guys, either Bateman or Hollywood, I think are good grabs.
I think Bateman's kind of, I don't know, you should definitely find out, but we put the buzz on Bateman, everyone's kind of expecting him. But yeah, definitely check him out.
Well, people might be silly and be like upset that he's not doing everything already. He's still coming back from an injury that took 6 weeks to get over. So I mean,
and this is back to your point. It depends who's playing in your league. Some might love Bateman, some might not. Yeah. But as a general class, go look for those guys who'll be in their second year next year who are currently not, Jamar Chase. Outside of that, I was talking about this a lot with Zach. It's just instead of thinking who's low and who's high right now, make the list of players that you want, and then they're your decisions, not mine. I don't have to give you the names. Like you think DK Metcalf's gonna be everything forever, then put him on your list. Make it as short a list as possible at every position. And the ultimate answer is you are trying to trade into as many of those players as possible. And I know that seems reductive and simplistic, but it skirts a lot of this. Buy T. Higgins low, but I like T. Higgins. I like Cortland Sutton. Who do I spend the value on? Is this constant back and forth conversation. Instead, just decide who are those guys you think are going to be those next year. Literally just next year. Don't have to think more than next year, even in Dynasty.
Absolutely.
But it's nice when they're young. That's true. And then you might not be able to trade for them because Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson are going to be on that list, I'd imagine, and no one wants to trade them. But those are your guys you're going after. And so that's another way of going about it because we can continue. Russ has thrown 2 great names at you. I definitely second the Calvin Ridley one. Terry McLaurin just had a good game, so that's not going to be on there. I would throw in with Calvin Ridley.
If he's
he just went off again. I think everyone's going to remember.
Oh yeah, he had a good game, so people are thinking he's all the way back.
I mean, check out everyone who's on your elite list. If you want a name that might not be on it, that you should maybe think about. I don't know outside of Calvin Ridley, to be honest with you. Maybe Cortland Sutton. People might be a little, especially with
or not Judy. Either
Jalen Waddle. Jerry Jeudy coming back, and Cortland Sutton he hasn't been disappointing. He's been hurt too, but
he's not consistent. I think that's what everyone's going to be really upset about, where he has those 15, 16 point games, and then he'll have a 6-point game. But
and I don't think that's a function of him, if you know what I mean. I think that's just what's going on with the team right now. I would put him on. Yeah. And I know you love him, so I thought we'd get some quick agreement, get out the door. But outside of the guys who are on your whatever list you go and make, I'd throw out those 2 names. I think T. Higgins is going to be a big target for everyone. I've seen a lot of people talk about buy low on T. Higgins. So those are 2 that I don't think are maybe going to be mentioned as much. Maybe. As well as Russ's Mike Williams suggestion. Ridley Truther, hey, welcome back, guy. Good to see the team together again. Yes, it is. With Judy back. Well, there you go.
Team together. We're the A team, you and me, buddy.
Dibs on Murdoch. With Judy back this week, hell yes. Instant
Big
starting
Baracus,
him.
baby.
I was going to say that one fits you better. Instantly starting him. Those damn high ankles tend to linger. Yes, they do. More to consider Marvin Jones or Manny Sanders over him. I mean, I'm not a doctor, but that's exactly the way I play it. I want to see him back. I want to see, especially softer tissue injuries, I believe they're called. I just want to see him play for a while, especially since the players on this team have been struggling anyway. So it's not like he's coming back to the Ravens or the Chiefs. So that can affect it as well. And honestly, I'd have to check. And I broke my projection model recently, so I can't actually pull it up right now. But I'm pretty sure I think Marvin Jones would have the edge there between Jones and Sanders. What do you think, Russ?
Well, I like Sanders. You have good people to put instead of Judy, so completely fine. What's worse? That's the question you always ask yourself in these situations. Am I going to be so mad at myself that I sat Judy and he goes off for 25 points? Or am I going to be more mad that I put in Judy, he leaves 3 plays into the game, and either Manny or Marvin, I don't know why I like that, go off for maybe 16 points. Like either way, like something that you would be happy with. You don't really go off for 16 points, but you score 16 points. Like it's absolutely okay to say, I want to wait to see how this guy does. And especially someone of Jerry Judy's level. Like if this was Devontae Adams, yeah, you could play Devontae Adams. That's fine, because chances are Devontae Adams at 80% is better than Manny Sanders and Marvin Jones at 100%. But Jerry Judy, who, don't get me wrong, I love Jerry Judy, we don't know. I'm completely fine playing either of those. Especially, I think Seattle is playing Jacksonville. Or did that just happen? No, they just played the Saints. Yeah, they're terrible. Seattle defense is terrible. So I'd be fine playing Marvin Jones.
Yeah, I think Marvin has the edge for me if you want to play between two. Honestly, if it was my team and you seem to be very high on Judy, I'd just play Judy, because that would feel worse to me not starting them. And then even if he just does it in catches rather than yards and touchdowns, I'd probably want him. But if I was answering a question based on projections, I'd say start Marvin Jones. We can just project him higher. So that seem fair?
You just took the soft answer right there. That's what you just did. SOF capital T, soft.
I said start Marvin Jones. I would start Judy because it sounds more fun.
There you go. That is a better answer.
I got Diggs to
got Diggs
to trade. That's weird, right? Godwin for Gibson, then traded Knox and Gibson for Diggs and John. Depends which Jay Williams there, my dude. I'm guessing
Javonte or Jamal. Yeah.
I'm guessing Javonte, right? No one's excited about getting Jamal, right?
Not anymore. Like there was a wonderful 2 weeks at the beginning of the season. We're like, all right, this could be a thing, and then they wised up and just let Swift go.
Then again, I don't get why you would get Diggs and Javonte Williams for just Gibson, basically.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't think you should be getting Diggs for Gibson, but that's completely besides the point.
Oh, shit. Diggs could belong on the Calvin Ridley list now you mentioned it. I forgot he's been underperforming for a second, like Calvin Ridley has. The volume's still there. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But yeah, that trade sounds good if we're reading the Williams right. Sounds overly good. Najee plus something for Russ.
I don't care that Wilson. It's 2 QB. You do not need to add to Najee to get me. You should be adding to my side to go get Najee.
I think they mean Russell Wilson.
That's not what they said.
That's true. I'm going to pretend you said Russell Wilson and say probably not. No. If I have 2 quarterbacks, I like Russell Wilson a lot. Definitely, top QB in the league. I don't think he gives you the edge you're looking for that he's a quarterback I would target. The only time I go out of my way to spend extra capital on quarterbacks are when they think they're going to give me those 30-point weeks consistently, like Mahomes did, except for last week, or like Kyler Murray does this year. And there are a couple of young quarterbacks that are doing it now, so you actually have targets. Usually it's just they do it for a season, then don't do it next season. So, no, I just keep Najee. I don't know. People seem overly interested in trading Najee Harris. I don't understand it.
Najee Harris has a very good opportunity to become running back 1 or 2 next offseason.
I mean, I'm good for trading him, but only if it's as Dynasty running back 1 or 2.
Exactly, 1,000%. And
that's why I'll
adding to Najee to get Russell Wilson. No, sorry, not doing that at all.
It's not. If
it's okay,
Mahomes,
let me take a step back. I'm not doing Najee for a rush straight up. I don't care that it's 2 quarterback. I'll take a 0 1 week when I don't, if I have to. But
to be fair to Spock 498 here, the question is, what is the difference? For me, the Russell Wilson side needs to add a first. There you go. Najee minus a first.
Najee being that like the running back or running back 1B, whatever you want to call it, because him and Jonathan Taylor are very whichever at this point, with CMC and Barkley getting hurt, Kamara sometimes being Kamara, sometimes not in that offense, who knows what, plus Kamara's another year older. Like, to me, those 2 young guys are the easy 1 and 2, Najee and JT.
They're gonna, if they don't jump,
younger
be
and more consistent at quarterback
with those 2 in ADP and value and everything.
Yeah.
I was actually thinking about not Russ or Najee Harris, but something that occurred to me today looking at a league, and I was like, what do I have left to trade away for points? And I was like, I got 3 quarterbacks. I don't need 3 quarterbacks, but my third quarterback is Jared Goff. And while I'm always emphasizing those mid-level caliber quarterbacks, especially in Superflex because they're undervalued, the problem with it is their value is only to teams that need quarterbacks, and no one wants Jared Goff. So if you ever need to trade him, if there's ever a team desperate for quarterback, I find in my leagues, if a team is desperate enough to trade value Derek Carr, Jared Goff, Wentz, whoever is in that middle tier, they're more likely to throw their hands in there and go, I just lose. Then trade for them, if you know what I mean. And that's something I never really considered about it. But like, Russ isn't in that category. But it is interesting that quarterback is so valuable in Superflex and yet not, if you know what I mean. Like, they're essential, but you can't. It's weird.
Yeah, they have a personal value when they're on your team,
because you have to start a quarterback, and that's why. But like, no one wants to trade for just start. It's weird. It's weird.
No, it's not really weird. It makes perfect sense because,
like, I technically should be able to trade Jared Goff away and get like a startable wide receiver this week or a young wide receiver because I've traded all my youth away, but no one. If someone needs Jared Goff on their team, they're more likely to go, I just lose.
Yeah, your best chance to sell someone like Jared Goff is like the week Russell Wilson got hurt. Like, that team, assuming they were competing, and they don't want to be like, oh crap, I'm 3-0 and I just lost one of my quarterbacks. Let me find someone a little cheaper until Russ comes back. That's when you can sell Goff a little easier. But like random week 7, it's tough. It's always a smaller market almost for those just not replaceable, but like mid-level quarterback points that you need but aren't sexy. Shout out Bobby.
The Ways of Glory is back. Wanted to support the show. Really appreciate it. Honestly, straight to my heart muscle. Felt that one. No one's ever given me money for podcasting at all.
And he usually doesn't
my favorite
feel things, person now. So
no,
there you
I
go,
don't
man.
feel anything. No, it's just like, I don't think we get that. But I don't want. Very happy. Thank you very much. Do it as much as you want. But just know you being here is what warms my heart. I really appreciate it. If we find a way of getting paid, don't worry, I'll let you know about it. But that's not have to.
Well, here I'll pull up my wire instructions right now.
There you go. Buy t-shirts from Rissa's store. There you go. I have nothing.
I don't get money from that either.
I got Chase. I'm assuming Jamar Chase, Najee Harris, J.K. Dobbins, Cam Akers, and Rashad Bateman, and Chase Claypool. Decent list.
I forgot what his original question was about, but those are great players. Scrolling back up, wide receiver to buy with the first.
Ayuk is another one if you're looking for youth. I think he's worth exactly a first
now.
No,
you don't have to pay first for Ayuk. Don't pay a first for Ayuk right now. You shouldn't have to. But you have a great core. Like
Yeah, you're good.
Harris and Dobbins, Akers, man, I hope that happens. And then Chase, Bateman, Claypool. Yeah, I honestly, if Dobbins comes back and can be Dobbins, and clearly Dobbins is better than what Baltimore has going on in the running back position right now, so he will do better than what these old people are doing. So you'll have a very strong running back core already. Chase and Claypool, I think, are very good 1 and 2. Okay, so yeah, I think I'm ready to say, like, yeah, maybe you should go after the Ridleys or Mike Williams or Keenan Allen's, because
I would put a first with Claypool and see what I could fish in my elite pool, honestly.
yeah, because you can absolutely field a very strong starting lineup. I mean, depending, as long as you don't have to start like 11 or 12 players, but you have a very strong core, in which case there's no reason to make your rebuild take another 2 years.
The only other thing I would say, you've got this. You're obviously drafting well. You're targeting the right players. So all the confidence in the world is go check out who's on those competing rosters. Maybe keep an eye on them, because those are the guys in season as a building team you can try to trade with. Because if they're pushing for that last playoff or that win in the playoffs just before your trade deadline, they're the ones who will accept a first for a young player who might not start for them this week.
Exactly.
That's your market.
I was
Go
going to
check
say,
out those teams. Get ready for it.
Go for those teams that are, man, what are we just went through 7, right? Go for those 3 or 4 or 4-3 teams and just be like, your team's good, but like, are you really gonna win? Why don't you just take my first and give me this guy? Like, it's like,
you can even point out your first is going to be really low. It's going to be really high first.
Don't be a dick about it, but just be like, you're not, just here, take the value, take the pick. I'll take this player off your hands, and let's go. Let's get it done.
And to be fair, because you've got a good core, I would only be doing that. That's why I said check them out. If there's no one on there you really have to have, your first is going to be higher than theirs. They should probably feel compelled to come to you a little bit more. You don't have to be thirsty about it. And to be clear, Waves of Glory, I don't have money or know what to do with it. I worry I might have upset you. Like, that was not a wasted $5. You'll be forever in my thoughts. I really appreciate it. It's just,
I love how much
took me by surprise.
Beats himself over being nice, or people being nice to him. Oh my God! Wait, this guy was nice. Did I just upset him by saying absolutely nothing bad? Oh no, you're worse than I am. That's intense. I am sorry.
I have never said anything nice. Take that back. Spock, hey, welcome back. Calvin Ridley for a first. Yes, all day. Don't care where the first is. Well, maybe no, not really.
Nope.
Calvin Ridley for a first is fine.
Calvin Ridley over the 2022 101. Done.
Yeah, just do it. Which will probably be a running back. Best case.
Yeah, even in Superflex probably will be a running back. Oh man, be able to start like AJB, Ridley, Cooks, Mooney. Like that's a really good 4 wide receivers to roll out every week. And then next year you get Juju and Allen Robinson in a new situation. I love that.
If you're winning, you're good. Yeah, just go get Calvin Ridley. If you're not winning, go get Calvin Ridley.
Go get Calvin Ridley. That's yeah.
And then trade Cooks.
You're not getting anything for Robinson. Don't trade Robinson. Wait until the end of the season where
definitely
he says, "Yo, I'm going somewhere else. I am not re-signing with the Bears." That will instantly spark his value. I mean, yes, he's a 29-year-old wide receiver that is going to a new team, but I think we've seen that very good wide receivers, you can write off that no one does well the first year on a new team. Yeah, he's good enough to do well enough on the first year.
You've got Calvin Ridley and AJ Brown above the line for me, and everyone else is packageable for someone else on my list, whatever that list is for you. That's the way I'd say it. I love those players at their value right now, but I'm always willing to try and stuff them into a nice, pretty box and get someone else.
Especially the bottom 4.
Yeah,
if you're competing, I love holding on to
their value is great now. But if you find someone willing to do something with it, then take it.
If you're willing to find someone that will actually pay for Cooks what his production is worth, then yes.
Juju is someone who's on my I didn't tell Waves of the Glory because I've hurt too many teams by giving this advice, but Juju's still underpriced based on what his upside is. Yep. So I add him if I hadn't already added him to every league. But he's not a target because that comeback is a little harder to bet on than Calvin Ridley just still being Calvin Ridley. Brandon Cooks for Chase Claypool, standard. Yes. Rest told you I have no opinion. Sorry, this is the question I was waiting for. C-Plant, how you doing, Connor? Yeah. Peter, remember all those videos this summer I commented Cordero, Tony, and Earth? That was cool. Yeah, you're the only person who liked him, I believe. That's not true. I still don't like him, so this is still on, Connor. But yeah, he's doing really well. Yeah. He's doing a lot better than I thought he would. Everyone's like, I thought he was still good. He's an athlete. I'm like, no, I didn't think he'd catch target. Basically, was where my flaw was. So he's already crested that. He's doing incredibly well compared to what I thought he would. I can own that. I feel pretty comfortable being wrong, so I'll just be wrong on it. And I would say I expect it to disappear because of his rookie profile. I still expect it to disappear rather than stick around. But so far, I'm wrong and you're right. So congrats. Do with that what you will. Bateman is a young wide receiver consideration for a first. Maybe T. Higgins as well. Yeah, like I'm constantly shocked. Like I would be highlighting T. Higgins more if I knew, and Calvin, if I knew these players traded for a single first, it would be all I spoke about. Like these players should be worth more than a first.
I don't think you're going to get people. Like I don't think you're going to get people in an active league to trade T. Higgins for a first because they realize even though Chase is there, T is still getting like 10 to 12 targets a game. They're not the alpha targets they were last year, but like he's like Demaryius Thomas right now, kind of. And that is very good for fantasy, especially in a PPR league.
I don't understand value sometimes. Like 1 week, people are screaming at me for believing that James Robinson is worth a first, and he's currently a top 12 running back. Like he's necessary to win. He's doing very well. He's had 2 top 12s. And people are like, "You're crazy." And then the next week, they're like, "Could I possibly get a first for T. Higgins?" I mean, make up your mind what things are worth. Dynasty community.
Nobody knows. That's the problem.
But Joe, yes. Sutton, Higgins, like any good wide receiver, especially if they're under the age of like 5. I think all these players are like 3 years old. Is worth a first or more. So yeah, definitely if you can get him for a first, do it. I wouldn't be expecting to get it. Same with Bateman. We just drafted him for a first round pick. Why would he be worth less than that now? Am I wrong?
Well, Superflex, he was in a second, but QB, he probably made the end of the first.
He was in the first round of my Superflex. I'm just
well, you're small sample size, buddy. Come on.
No, I just mean if I was in it. But yeah, cool. Ways of Glory, great analysis, boys. Thank you. I'll make that list. Luckily, I have a lot of guys you've mentioned, as we've seen. Bateman, Moore, Claypool. Yeah, it's almost like what does he do if he's got these wide receivers in your building? Just start trading for picks, I guess. Yeah. You got nothing else left to add.
Get ready to just buy those competing pieces for next season.
And do keep in mind this offseason, those young players' value are actually probably going to increase anyway. So, like, you can still keep making moves, but I think you're set at young wide receiver unless there's someone on your list that you don't have yet, and then you can use them to go. I encourage making that list one way or the other. Gallup, a good buy low, young gun. I mean, presumably he's worth less than a first now. If T. Higgins is maybe worth a first and Gallup is worth a second, yes.
Well, see, the problem with Gallup is everyone knows already. Everyone knows that either he's going to a new team or they're going to have to cut Cooper because his contract is ridiculous. It's not a surprise to anyone. So that's the problem. So that's why I don't think you're getting him for less than a first. But if I have the 112, I'll send that for Gallup.
Yeah, basically my answer is no, because either these values are wrong or the production doesn't meet what his value actually is. If you can get him for a second or third, yeah, because we're probably not getting that from a second and third round pick. But he's not the kind of player I'm trying to trade up to. So the only way of getting him is if I think I'm getting him below value right now. And I don't see that. Like, I don't think people are giving you him for a third and they're every day, all day, you know? No. So he's just not someone like, I love the player. I think he's very much proven hashtag good. Don't get me wrong. And if he's getting given away, I will take him. But the same way I've got Robbie Anderson on some rosters, I've got him because eventually people are going to remember he's good and his value will rise up. But I think Gallup's value is already there. That would be my guess.
His value never dropped that much.
No, I don't think so. J. Mike Check, good evening, you beautiful
hey,
men.
buddy.
You. This is J. Mike Check, the nicest man in the world, currently watching us on Twitch from the Open Bar podcast, right? And also the Dynasty Dummies FTPN at he's everywhere.
DFPN
He's
Network.
Wonderful.
The best and only network in town, and the Dummy Blitz, baby. 15
Follow him at J. Mike Check on Twitter. He honestly most nice person you can meet in your life.
Yes, 1000%.
SU too, buddy. What do I do with OBJ in one quarterback PPR? Do you have options?
Take a second. Take a second and run. Or if he's like your wide receiver 5, then just keep him as your wide receiver 5. You know, he'll get 8 to 12 points, and every once in a while he'll put up 40, and you'll just be like, cool, he was on my bench for that. Oh well.
I will put Odell Beckham on my roster for Michael Gallup. That's because Odell Beckham has higher upside. I also don't believe he's ever going to get there again at this point.
Especially not.
But I will make upside bets. So that's ultimately like Gallup for a second, sure. OBJ for a second, or for Gallup, yes. I will take the upside of Odell Beckham, but at this point, I know I've been hurt too deep to target him, as it were. But what do you do with him on your roster? I would try to trade him away for second plus. Especially if you're a non-contender right now, because it's just time to do something else.
Yep.
Joe Herbert, welcome back. As a T. Higgins owner, I'm not selling low on him. Good.
Smart man.
It's
not low. There is no low. He is still very good. He is still
here's the thing.
points.
I think T. Higgins this year is everyone trying to be the loudest on Brandon Ayuk. Not because I think T. Higgins is going to struggle next year like Brandon Ayuk has, but because I think everyone likes him and everyone wants to be the loudest on him to say, I told you to buy low when no one's low. Like, that's what's going on. Everyone's telling you everyone else hates T. Higgins to make themselves sound like they love T. Higgins more, because that's the only way of proving that they love T. Higgins more, because everyone loves frickin' T. Higgins. Like, no one's low. No one's low. But by all means, test the market in your league. If the person in your league with T. Higgins on their roster is the one person who would sell him for a first, you best make that trade offer. Otherwise,
like Higgins.
Just Russ with the better answer. Cool. 4 and 3 in a superflex, 1.5 tight end premium, doesn't matter. Tight ends are Knox, Conklin, Hooper, Seals, Jones. You need another tight end. Troutman and Tremble. I don't love that core. To make a push, should I try to recover Fant, Hawkinson? Yes.
Hawkinson, yes. No. I am.
Yes. Those are the type of tight ends you use for production, and if you can package them
Knox
together,
is scoring. I mean, I know he got hurt, but Knox is scoring the same way Fant is scoring. If you're going to trade, you trade for someone like Hawk, who we have seen put up multiple 20-something point games.
Knox is scoring the same way Fant is scoring, but he's doing it by overproducing, and Fant is doing it by underproducing. There's a difference. Fant is a different level.
You get the guy who's producing more.
No, in Dynasty, you want Fant. Promise you. And also, he's literally about to bounce back up again next week. I believe, I hope.
Yeah, but also Judy's coming back.
Don't care. I think Fant's fine. He's like,
look, those vacated targets are going away, Peter.
In red zone targets right now. And he's not underperforming. It's just a rough roster right now, which is also a Judy problem. Will be a problem for Judy. So yeah, Fant's just a different kind of dynasty asset to all of those guys. So the production matters less to me, especially if I'm getting the production and that different level of definitely more likely to be on the roster, more likely to be valued, is younger, and everything else. Like, I would package it all up for Fant if I could. Hawkinson, sure.
Also, just like 0.5 premium isn't that big of a deal, especially for guys like Knox and Fant. Like, the 0.5 premium only really matters for what Waller used to be and for Kelsey.
The 0.5 premium literally does not matter. It changes the numbers next to their names, but doesn't affect how much they score relative to wide receiver or running back enough to matter. So it's literally the same order. It's just a slightly higher number next to the name. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It does, like you said, though, for those top two, it matters a little bit because it makes some more flex considerations. Barkley and Watson for Zach Wilson. No. I don't quarterback evaluate. At best, I am waiting with non-bated breath to see Zach Wilson beat my expectations, and then maybe. Outside of
This is
that, I would try and get Watson off my team.
Yes. See, that's the thing. I think this is good value. Like that's
fine.
where I'm stuck.
I just want Barkley in this deal. That's what I want. I think the rest could turn into. I think. Oh, Chase is at the end. What's Chase at the end? Sorry.
Quarterback, running back, wide receiver. Like that's how MFL.
Oh yeah, you just get the Chase side, and you can trade the other things.
Whatever the hell
afterwards.
you want. Yes.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I was leaning.
Sorry, I didn't see Chase.
There is someone in your league that likes Zach Wilson more than you do. You'll be able to flip him.
I think Jared Goff is the upside here. Usable quarterback who's fine, and we were just talking about how that's a really
Wilson has
weird
a better
thing.
Arm, though.
It doesn't matter if you can't hit your target any better than Jared Goff. Like it just means you.
But look what Josh Allen did. We have to compare everyone to outliers. Zach Wilson can make that same jump that Josh Allen did.
Do it with Hurts. Don't do it with Zach Wilson.
I completely agree with you. I'm just being loud for no reason.
I love it. I'm glad you're doing it. I'll be honest with you. No, I shouldn't say these things. I honestly don't know what makes a good quarterback. I just know the people that I trust to evaluate on-field performance literally have been saying from day one, Zach Wilson can't hit the target. It doesn't matter. He can't hit his target. So he's going to keep not hitting it. Now, Hurts was hitting his target and now isn't. And that's like the only thing we know to look for quarterbacks, really, accuracy. And so will Hurts turn it around? Maybe. Will Zach Wilson suddenly be able to hit a target?
Probably not.
I mean, yeah, Josh Allen. I don't think Josh Allen got any more accurate. I think he got
his percentage went up. That just shows that.
And they schemed the entire thing around his running ability. Zach Wilson doesn't have that. It's just
he doesn't have the same running abilities. But yes, you also made a very good point. You made a very good point that the Bills did something smart. The Jets don't do smart things. Just putting it out there.
They've been doing smarter things. He doesn't have an ability that can help the team place him in more positive situations so his completion rate can come up, even though he is no more accurate.
Like,
that thing. That's what I'm trying to say. His inability to rush like Allen means they can't scheme him into situations where being as accurate doesn't matter as much. And I think that's what's going on with Allen.
Very fair.
I think. But, whatever. Josh Allen will owe me from now until the end of time. Like, literally, he can spend me if he wants. I'm currency fit. Youth World 81. Rest of season, thoughts on trade idea. Core players. Lamar Jackson, yeah. Trey Lance, sell. CMC, I'm selling at this point, but for very high value. Mixon and Gaskin, Mixon's fine. You're just starting them. No one's going to pay. Gaskin, I don't know. Okay, Miami running backs, I hate.
I'm not.
His snap share went back up again this week. His special teams usage also went up, though, with Jalen Waddle's special team usage coming down. That per Adam Harnstead, by the way, who's watching that like a freaking hawk. So technically his usage is meant to drop, but he just got back on the field for more than he's been doing. His target share has just become consistent, like 10% a game over the last 3 games, but he's producing every other game in tandem with his snap share, and we don't know what his snap share is going to be next week because Miami running back usage makes no sense. That's coupled with the fact Malcolm Brown now is no longer available because he's injured. And so Salvon Ahmed now had a 30% snap share last week. So what that means next week, no idea. Like Myles Gaskin is tilting me, if you can tell. Basically, as running back 2, you have to start if you have no other options, but I do not flex Myles Gaskin anymore because it's too painful.
Okay, so rest of season thoughts for trades. I'm going to assume this is one quarterback.
Sure.
I would be fine trading CMC away for stud wide receiver and something else. Like if you can go get I mean, you can't aim too high anymore, but I mean, I feel bad that we keep going to the same dudes. But if you can get
no, that's the way it should be. Your list should be short.
If you can get Calvin, because you'll get Calvin Ridley plus for CMC, even right now with CMC being hurt. So if you can get Ridley plus for CMC, I absolutely do that because starting Mixon and Javonte every single week, you feel fine. Chris Carson will come back and he scores points when he plays. Hopefully he got his games out out of the way now, and hopefully if he plays the rest of the season, you're going to be absolutely fine at running back with those three guys. AJ Brown, Stephon Diggs, AB, Landry, Ayuk. I mean, you're getting a little. Oh man, wait, is that Dan Arnold your only tight end? Maybe you want to do a little better there. That
I was
going to
say that's what I'm seeing. I always go try and improve the onesie positions because everyone's expecting the running back trade. So try and trade for a tight end or a quarterback. I do that pretty often.
If you can throw CMC and get like CMC straight up for Kelsey,
I mean, Foster Moreau. How long is Waller going to be injured? You don't even have to go that high. But I would target Kelsey.
Well, he was already a game time decision. I don't think he's going to be out for super long.
You don't think? Okay. Well, even Waller.
I haven't read anything. Let me throw that out there.
But yeah, I would go target a top tier tight end with that kind of trade with CMC, or I would just try and find a better streamer than Dan Arnold, man, because even those 10 points a week in a matter in season week over week.
Especially just because Jacksonville is so unpredictable with where they're going to pass the ball every week that I don't want to really depend on any of them, and especially the onesie position.
If you're not aiming for the very top two, I trade for Fant. I've been doing that. Also Gesicki, but people are realizing he scores points at this point.
We're a few weeks late. I mean, if people are not still thrilled with Goddard, maybe that's a smart move because I mean, his target share is going to go up with Ertz gone. I mean, that's just
without Gesicki being able to be on my list anymore. I've gone to Fant. That's why I was defending him so hard to you earlier. I think Fant's the new Gesicki, which is weird because I've flipped roles. But yeah, Fant.
That's fine.
Mark Andrews, everyone's remembered, and like you said, I think everyone's figured out Gesicki. So I think it's just Fant. What else was I going to say about this team? Russ is 100% right, and white, that you should maybe bolster the wide receiver as well. Package up for one of those elite guys. Deebo Samuels is going to be cheaper than he should be because he's Deebo Samuels, and very few people saw this coming.
The fact that he missed a game for the past, the past 2 years, people will automatically be a little soured on him. Plus, he hasn't done this before. And when Kittle comes back, no, he did this with Kittle on the field. I mean, it was only a game and a half, but
still. Marcus Brown is also cheap for a top 12 wide receiver.
Especially with people, Bateman is getting more and more targets. It doesn't matter. Marquise Brown still got 12 last game. That's a very good go after also.
Outside of that, trade your first for Darrell Henderson or James Robinson and start those guys in your flex. That would be my rest of season. Those are my rest of season trades, kind of in a nutshell.
And they both will be fine next year. I'm saying it now.
Yeah. I think James Robinson is actually going to keep that job, and he'll be a top 12 running back 3 years in a row, and people will still be like, yeah, but imagine when he stops, and that'll be that.
Draft capital.
Patrick Pichette? I think I'm getting that right.
Sounds good.
Curious, what are your opinions on 2022 first versus 2023 first? Oh, it's that time of year. Cool. Would you trade a mid-2022 first, for a random 2022 first?
I think that's supposed to be 22 for 23.
I'm reading badly today.
No, that was typed wrong.
I'm reading like a type. Would you trade an early 22 first for a random 23? Which is worth more, a 2022 first or a 2023 first? I think that's the gist, right?
That's like the gist of this question is the fact that this is a down year and next year is supposed to be a good year, that big of a difference to make the difference of the cost. These 22 picks and 23 picks are almost equal in value, which they shouldn't be. I know there are a lot of people that live in the mind frame where time doesn't matter. A first is a first. No, sorry. Time is money, baby. Time absolutely has value. And maybe we can argue about the amount of value that is, but there absolutely is difference. One quarterback, I will send any first to next year. Superflex, yeah. I think once I hit the 6 or 7, I'm fine throwing it to the 23. Early first, no. There's gonna be someone that will give you more for it the closer you get to the draft. That's not worth doing because it's cashing out too early and too cheaply. Though I do think once we hit next year, once the 22 picks go away, yeah. Wait for me to finish talking, even though I didn't know I wasn't done yet. Once the 22 picks go away, after that's damn right, you leave. This is my show now. After the 22 drafts, 23 picks are going to be like the 2020 picks. I think it's just they're going to be golden and impossible to get, but that doesn't mean you ruin your value now for value that much later. Because I think once you get to the draft, you'll get a 23 first plus a little bit, and a 22 second and a 23 first, something like that. Like that's absolutely something you should do and can do then. You can talk now.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, what Russ is saying is right. Picks that are closer should be worth more than picks that are further away. And then you've got the order of the picks. So first round picks are ones that are going to be valued this year, even if it's a low class. I would say there is an edge to realizing that people are weird like that. This happened with the 2020 class. Like 2 years out, they were worth more than next year's picks. And now, to be fair, 2020 was a hell of a class, and so is 2021, though. And people were gladly trading out of 2021 to get back into 2020 because they wanted more 2020 picks. And I just know that some of the best players have come from the worst classes, like DeAndre Hopkins and Keenan Allen, two of the most productive wide receivers.
I love that you go back to those two guys because I love those two guys.
Because they were lower drafted in rookie drafts, they were lower drafted overall, and everyone hated that. I hated that class. It looked like a down class, and it was. But you've got these two just gems. And Keenan Allen was even, I think he was a second round pick. I think Hopkins was still an early first, to be fair. But like Keenan Allen was still there to be had. So it really depends. It's another in your league thing. And when people start asking these questions, it's normally true that 2023 picks are now worth the same as 2022 picks. Everyone's going to start targeting them. And it's not because you're behind. It's just because people are starting to think about it. So it's probably getting too late to buy into 2023 because 2020 was a great class, worth doing
early picks.
So it's probably do it now because it's going to be too late to do it soon. But listen to the value. Don't be scared. Don't be scared of 2022 picks because there's going to be good players there. It's just, yeah, that's what I'd say. Don't be scared of the picks. If the value changes that way, don't be too scared of 2022. There's good players to be had.
Yes.
J. Mike Chet, favorite person in the world apart from Russ Fisher. In fact, they're both equal. That's his full name. Aaron Rodgers' value in Dynasty is top tier quarterback, right? Still.
But he's old, and we don't know what he's going to be next year.
Yeah, he's like in the Mahomes and Kyler tier, but you pay less.
You pay a lot less. Yes,
guys are wonderful. I love them. They're younger than me, by the way.
to get those top three, you have to pay 3 firsts. Again, super flex.
Yeah.
To get Aaron Rodgers, you probably pay a first and a second. In which case, go buy Aaron Rodgers for a first and a second.
Yeah, if you can package them for some of those value players, like you throw in an Ayuk or a Higgins or a Sutton for a super flex, like that's the type of quarterback I'd trade for over Russ because Aaron Rodgers is fairly consistent through a season. Unfortunately, that's just a feature of the Seahawks managing the game the way they want to. So yeah, Aaron Rodgers is good.
Should be worried about Patrick Mahomes not being a top 5 QB in Dynasty.
I was worried the world was going to crack. Someone had realized it.
He's still the QB1. I don't care.
Yeah, that's just silly Twitter noise. Ignore it.
If someone's trying to convince you he's not, they're just trying to buy him from you.
It's just, to me, it's noise. I mean, if he suddenly falls off a cliff, I will be shocked and have egg on my face. I'm fine. But yeah, I'm not worried about it. Joe Mixon or Javonte in Dynasty? Javonte.
The value's even enough. And so if that's the case, I'll take the guy who I still believe
Javonte should be higher value. If the season ended today, Javonte Williams would be higher value than Mixon because he's young, and that's the way the dynasty market works. And honestly, how running back production works. Does that mean Joe Mixon's going to stop being good as he is anyway? No, it doesn't. Absolutely doesn't.
I mean, Joe Mixon will outscore Javonte this year and probably even next year, but I still think Javonte will be worth more.
Yeah, he probably is right now, realistically. Don't think you're getting him for cheaper in trades. So it really depends what your team needs. If it needs production, Mixon. If it needs value, Javonte. And Jared Goodman, what's Terry's value?
Everything.
The world.
Yes.
No.
Gary Oldman GIF. Everyone.
What did it cost you? It cost me Terry McLaurin. No, like he's made me wrong like so many times. I was wrong on his rookie profile. I called him good, said he was going to be top 12 this year, and then he wasn't. So I said he's not top 12 this year, and now he is. So like, I love this guy. He is great. Honestly, yeah, I think he's great. I think because he's an
very,
older
very good
rookie, like Calvin Ridley, like any kind of disappointment. I think his value is always going to be a little softer than most good wide receivers that should be in the top 12. And so that's another reason I like him. It should be like whatever, I don't know, who's not Chase and Jefferson in the top 5? It should be DK Metcalf's value. Honestly,
yes,
that's the line.
I am
he is
right there
definitely not. He's below that. So I love him even harder. That's what his value should be. Want to trade for him, and that's the thing, you can offer slightly less because it's not an insult.
A first and
Higgins, first
not
and
Godwin.
First
look
and
at
Godwin.
he listed a bunch of
Godwin
players. He has 2 firsts, Henderson, Godwin, Renfro, Amon-Ra, and a bunch of seconds. If you could do a first and you're not going to get him for a first and a second, but if you could do a first and Henderson, I would do that. I get that Henderson he's good. I mean, let's face it. Like, we love Cam Akers. Cam Akers most likely won't be Cam Akers when he comes back. If he comes back when he comes
will
back.
Be Cam Akers, to be fair. He's not like.
Yeah, no. I feel like he's going to legally change his name when he comes back. He's going to have a different name.
Fair. Cam Quakers. I've come to rock the world. No, from your list, a first and Godwin is really high, and I'd do it.
Yes, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do it first. Honestly,
I don't think you have to, but I would.
If it do a first and Godwin because it'll get it done, but get something along the lines of Renfro, Amon-Ra sent back.
Or ask him to add something to the Terry side, honestly.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, get something sent back to you of that value level. Like get a bye-week replacement kind of guy.
Or a second back. Like you even get some value out of it. It's awesome. If not, a first and a second. If you won't do that, first and a second and Ra, first and second Ra, like
absolutely.
Sure,
and the thing is, I really do like Amon-Ra. I think in a year or two, he will be a super dependable Landry-esque player.
Yeah. He's just someone I'd put on that. I will spend what it takes to get that. I think he's a really good player. I think he's young enough. I think he's going to produce difference-making points. At least this year, it's been really inconsistent. But I love Tyler Lockett, so Terry McLaurin can just hang out with him, and I'll be real happy.
All the Terry.
Terry and Tyler, they'll
Terry
start.
And Tyler, I would watch that buddy cop movie.
They're going to start a kid show. I was going to say, but that's better. Buddy cop movie. Local liability. That's a better name than mine. Yeah. Made 2 trades in 10-team PPR Dynasty League at the same time, where I'm stacked at wide receiver with Gibson and Edmonds.
He's stacked at wide receiver, but those are his running backs.
Yeah, I read that didn't.
You read it correct. You just didn't compute that.
Yeah. As best, I don't think while I read. That's the honest truth. As best running backs, sent Gibson, Jarrett Patterson, Seals Jones in a second, received Kittle and Joe. Yeah, great. Yeah,
great job, man. I don't even love the idea of getting Kittle right now, but you got great value.
Yeah. And also, we're here for you to brag at. That's cool too.
No, yeah, absolutely. Throw your great stuff in here, and we'll just tell you how great you did.
We'll just feel jealous of you all day long, honestly. So now I'm on a 4th, a 2nd, and a 3rd. Wow, that's a
weird grouping.
For Knox and a 2nd. Sure.
Yeah, I mean that's fine.
If you need tight end production right now,
yeah, and getting a 22 seconds pretty cool when you're sending out future picks. So that's fine.
This is another not be afraid of 2022 picks. I think that's great. You're a good.
He's answering someone else.
Yeah, it's cool.
Hey, this is our show. We tell people.
No.
Joe, you don't.
Don't listen to him, Joe. You go, Joe. I'm on your team.
Got to get tough. Go, Joe.
We're here to start a community, Russ. If they want to talk to each other, they're allowed. Ridley Truther, welcome back once again. Been trying to grab Ridley in 100% of leagues. Yeah, I think that's fair. Compared to 90%. Okay. But most guys I play with are smart. Damn them. He didn't say damn them. Ad-lib me. Best counter I received was Ridley for my 2023 first. Rondo Moore and I think that's Freiermuth. Freiermuth?
I would do that.
Freiermuth. And Gallup. A little bit much for me. So Ridley and a first for
Because I mean, let's face it, this comes down
First,
to
more Pheromones. Yeah, do it.
our Rondo Moore is a great player. Is he ever going to be a consistent difference maker on your team?
Maybe, but
Maybe
Ridley is.
3 years. You'll get him back before it happens. Freiermuth, again, I love Penn State pass catchers. I am all about it. I love Pat Freiermuth. We don't know what that offense is going to be. This is going to be completely changed over. We don't know if he's part of the plan or if the tight end is going to be part of the plan. And again, Michael Gallup, who again is a very good player, the ceiling is probably not there. Calvin Ridley can be the wide receiver 1. Go do it.
This is the kind of trade I'd always be like, no, you can't have my Rondo
If
Moore.
you can get away with like a 4-for-1, you take the 1 because you're just compiling value at that point.
But also, and something I'm coming to try and force myself to realize, is you're basically giving out all that hope so you can have something that's already there. That's you have to. I mean, I don't know, what's a John Bosch quote I can throw at you? Which is always where I get to on trades.
Just quote The Office, and that's
what did John
Bosch
Bosch say once? If you want things, you have to give away things other people want.
Yes, if you want good things, you got to give good things. I mean, that is absolutely.
No one's going to give you what you want for something they don't want, and people want Rondo Moore on a first and Freiermuth, and that's it. Do we have to move on? Okay. Young World's talking back to Joe Herbert. You see, we're creating a dialogue.
Yeah, there you go.
Like we're I don't know.
Just bringing the world together. That's what we're doing.
Johannes, welcome back. Appreciate it. I won quarterback league, and I don't care who knows. I've got at least one quarterback league.
2. My keeper league, which my friend runs, who there's like it's a 10-team league, but like 6 out of 10 people actually pay attention. But it's like one of those keeps a group of friends together. And the other one is a Bosch league, so there's like super interesting scoring at QB. But no, play what makes you happy. The only league I will shame is 2 tight end because that's trash. Those exist for the wrong reason. No 2 tight end. Don't even try and defend 2 tight ends, Peter.
I don't know. I was going to say I like 1 QB leagues also because I don't know why we want things to be more like the NFL. Like I don't want to be punched in the face regularly either. That's like the NFL. And 1 quarterbacks get to not matter. You know how much content we all end up creating and reading telling us that quarterbacks don't matter? And so we went to Superflex and now none of it matters. Like, no, we can go back to all those old takes and those.
Play what makes you happy.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Just forget quarterback. Go for it. Everyone should have at least one quarterback league. Hi, Pete Russ. How much is Cordero Patterson worth in 1 quarterback league? Same as whatever Henderson and Darryl James Robinson is right now. For you.
The chances are you will not get a first for Cordero Patterson, even though he's scoring like you should. In a 1 quarterback league, I want more than just 1 second. In a super flex league, I've taken a second. So if you can get a second and a third, and then honestly, saying it out loud, I'd just settle for a second anyway, because who cares about thirds in a 1 QB league?
Pretend his name is Mike Davis and it's 2020. That's what he's worth. This was meant to be
fair point. Fantastic.
This is what Mike Davis was meant to be doing. Instead, Cordero Patterson took the job. That's what it's worth. It's worth a first minus, and no one's going to want to trade you a second.
Cordero Patterson in a second for a first if you're lucky. People will have a very hard time giving up a 1.
Which, to be fair,
with Cordero Patterson on the other side.
He puts them on that list with Henderson and James Robinson, whereas if you're winning, go do that. Yeah.
Yep.
2 seconds for Patterson, yes.
Yep. Absolutely.
2 seconds is not the same as the first. It's
Correct.
Not like nickels and dollars. My Moss is Randy. Everyone's better at making names than me. Everybody. That's awesome. Tyreek for Stafford in the late first in Superflex.
Getting a quarterback without giving a quarterback is always great. You always do have to pay up a little in that situation. I still don't think I could do it. It's Tyreek Hill. That dude is not going to get worse in the near future. So I still think I stick on the Tyreek side, but it's not super off. Like, I don't think I see that and like, oh my God, that's so bad. That trade's going to ruin the league. This is collusion. You know, it's a trade, but I'm not thrilled about it.
What Russ is saying is true, and so I'd phrase it this way: if getting Stafford is going to increase your chances of winning, then do it. It's close enough. If he's fair. Not, then you definitely don't have to do it.
Right? Like if you would need to have really bad QB2 to make getting Stafford make your team that much better. Like
Yes.
if you're talking 2 points a game difference, I don't do it. If we're talking, oh crap, I have like Teddy Bridgewater or something along those lines of guys that you don't feel great starting every week, then yeah, you do it. But if we're talking 2 to 3 points, I don't think I do it.
Alternatively, like Stafford's a difference-making quarterback this year, so I could see how it's increasing your team total. And to make it, if it's a dynasty league, 'cause that's where our heads are at, what would make Russ say yes is if that's Lamar Jackson. Like he's a difference-making player
Oh
this year
yes.
who's younger, so you don't have to worry about the value
Oh,
disappearing, and then it's a hands-down win. So, like, maybe try the trade for a Jackson.
I take everything I just said back. Stafford's doing a lot better than I thought he was.
Yeah, he's doing a lot better.
I take that back. No, that's fine. Go do that.
Because that's the level of production you're
he's
getting.
He's the QB8 right now. I didn't even hold on. Let me throw average in there. Just because QB9. Nope. He's the 9th overall scorer. I did not sort by QB. Go get Stafford. That's fine.
Yeah, he's like the QB6 right now, points per game or overall points, I think. In mine, but mine's a certain scoring system. So yeah, I think it's there. If it's gonna
in trade addicts leagues.
If it's really gonna help you make a push, do it.
Absolutely.
If you feel queasy about it because my team sucks elsewhere and I don't have any youth everywhere, then maybe try and add and get Lamar or Kyler or Patrick Mahomes. But this is that at a discount, and I like it.
It's so much more of a discount. Yeah, no, I take back everything I said. Go for it. Is Mike Davis?
Is Mike Davis a bust?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I thought you were going to try and justify like the peripherals were there in the beginning of the season.
He did. He had top 12 usage for 5 weeks, which means the process was right. It's just
that definition makes him a bust.
And I don't know how to, because many teams have put Cordero Patterson, and everyone's expected this to happen, but it's just the Falcons that have actually done it. So I don't know why the Falcons were the ones that are smart enough to figure out this guy can ball if we just give him the ball. But they did. Yeah. So yeah, and that's what it is. And I only say that to note that it's not like Mike Davis is bad. It's Cordero Patterson is great. And they're like, hey, this is pretty cool. Like Mike Davis was decent last year and got a role. He's decent this year. He's replaceable.
He was doing better with the opportunity last year than he was at the beginning of the season. And then when you have and the problem was last year, there was no guy like CPAT standing next to him.
Yeah, I just mean it in the sense that the process is there. Running backs who get a path to it ended up busting because Terrell Patterson is just full on balling out. Mike Williams Davis struggled a little bit. That's the end of that. It's painful. Toronto Dave, how you doing? Welcome back. Hope there's no compliments in this one, man. Superflex got Hurts for a couple of competing teams. Yeah, why not? Unless he gets benched for Minshew, you're good. Would you downgrade short-term production for long-term security? Always. I do. I try to do it smart, so I'm not giving up the future entirely. Like I'm going to trade for players I don't think who are going anywhere. Like again,
does Cousins have this? Does Cousins have long-term security?
No, not really. But I was thinking more
the rest of the season.
Yes, not his terrible examples. Carr and Cousins don't. I think Cousins actually does. That team's perfectly happy with what they're getting out of Cousins. Carr, I don't know. I get higher when I get less short.
I noticed that hurt my ear a little bit.
But here's the thing about Hurts: he's so young, and if the team isn't nearly as worried as all of Twitter, then even Bortles got like a 3-year run. And
the only reason it is scary is because of the draft capital they have. That's the problem. They are a very bad team. They will probably walk into the 2nd overall pick. They also have 2 other firsts that are going to be top 15. One of them probably also being top 8. So they could do whatever the hell they want.
That's a decent argument. They could also try and build a team and draft a quarterback
if they were smart. Yes,
and honestly, they haven't been unsmart before. They've been weird lately, but they haven't been in terms of planning and building their team. They've tried. They just failed a lot.
And you have to cross your fingers that if they do something weird and trade for Watson, Hurts will go to Houston, in which case he's starting there. So I don't think Hurts is that unstable. Just his starting in Philly might be a little unstable, but I think he starts somewhere.
Yeah.
So I honestly, I don't think I do that because just with the legs, his upside is just there.
It's a very particular upside where he didn't have draft capital, yet the team still decided to go all in on betting on him, and then they acquired a lot of draft capital. So really, there's no direct comparison. It'll be interesting to see it play out. Right now, I'm willing to bet the under because the upside is already there, and I honestly think the downside is you have a devalued quarterback who's still starting games, and I think that's fine. That's where I'm at. Join us. Yes, I have T. Higgins, and I think he's still a top 12 wide receiver. I've never thought he's a top 12 wide receiver, but I think he's a good wide receiver, if that helps. The Bengals offense is that good. No late first. I don't disagree. Apart from probably our
they
rankings
don't use him. I think they're trying to figure out how to use these two together, Chase and Higgins, and it's changed from the beginning of the season, no less. So if they keep actually being intelligent, like it seems like they are, I think there is a very good chance because we see many years there are one team that has multiple wide receivers in the top 12. So absolutely, definitely a
4
possibility.
teams a year on average. So yeah.
There you go.
I think, and that's what I think. I think Higgins can be a top 24 wide receiver, and Chase can be a top 12 as rough categories. I love Higgins. It's just a different, but our rankings are probably a little different, and that's fine because I can be wrong, and Higgins can be top 12 next year. Whatever. Don't sleep on Higgins, I guess, but honestly, I don't think anyone is. Give up Ridley for Higgins and a mid to late first. No, I'd do it the other way.
It's me, so I love both of those guys, so it's a little tough. I would have liked a little bit more, like throw a first and a second, and I'd feel better about it. But in that point, when you're talking about that high level of a player like Ridley, is a second going to stop me from making the deal? No.
Yeah, I won the Ridley side, but I don't poo-poo the other team. I'm like, hey, you got what you want. That's a good trade. Yeah. It's fine. Appreciate the feedback, fellas. No problem, man. And Nathan Lawson, Calvin Ridley, value in Dynasty. It's just a Calvin Ridley sponsored podcast.
This absolutely is a Calvin Ridley podcast. Like, it just, like, scroll back, like, at any given point, there's a chance we're talking about Calvin Ridley at that point.
To be fair, we're now a Young World sponsored podcast, but we've got a Calvin Ridley theme going on. I think we've answered that question so many different ways here. Like, he's worth a good young wide receiver on a first. Yes. Is he worth 3 firsts? Borderline. I don't think anyone's given it to you, but I wouldn't trade him for less than that kind of value. I think Russ is another visual aid. There you
go. I like Calvin Ridley too.
See, now we just think you've got pictures, t-shirts, jerseys of every player, so you don't actually like anyone. You just have
the only one I got on me is I have a Keenan Allen picture back there, but I have a ton of cards if you want me to start going through them.
Every player, I swear. Players I could target to move him. Ridley? I mean, Higgins in a first and a second, or Higgins in a first, or Sutton in a first. That's kind of the young.
Okay, no, I mean, let's talk about the players you can't get for Higgins.
No, I wouldn't trade Ridley for him.
Okay, so hold on. I have September ADP up. Calvin Ridley's wide receiver 9. Above him is Stephon Diggs, Devontae Adams, Jamar Chase, CeeDee Lamb, DK Metcalf, Tyreek Hill, Justin Jefferson, AJ Brown. Chances are, without adding, you're not getting any of those guys. But let's go below. DeAndre Hopkins, Chris Godwin, Amari Cooper, DJ Moore, Terry McLaurin, Keenan Allen, T. Higgins, Allen Robinson, Jerry. Yeah, we've gotten too low. I mean, Cooper Kupp is wide receiver 20. Deontay Johnson, I like a little also. Man, why was Mike Evans wide receiver 22? What is going on?
No, this is a question I keep meaning to ask on Twitter. Like, what do you want Dynasty rankings to be? Because I can tell you what my rankings are, like how much I like them, or I can tell you where I would draft them, and you can't complain at me like it's the other list.
Well, this is ADP. This isn't rankings.
I would have Hopkins over Ridley, but I would not value Ridley under Hopkins. It's 2 different lists, if you know what I mean.
1000%. This ADP is just part of the equation, especially when it comes to trade value. But like you're not going to be able to get those young guys, you know, Chase, Lamb, Jefferson. You're probably not going to be able to get Adams or Tyreek, DK Metcalf, AJ Brown, anyone else besides the people I've mentioned. Well, if you can get those guys, absolutely. Yeah.
There's like 9 wide receivers above him. Yeah.
So like you should be able, if you want to get out on Ridley, which you both of us agree you don't need to or shouldn't do that.
Right.
But if you wanted to, you can aim for anyone besides those guys.
Yeah, that's actually a very clean, easy way of answering that question. Good job, Russ. It's like you've done this before. Jacob Calloway, Jonathan Taylor, running back Dynasty 1. I'm pretty much guaranteed, I think. And Ayuk for Javonte Williams, Pitts for Bob Gilchrist. Get back in here.
Yeah,
Look what you've
and
done. Look what you
and
did to this poor man.
Bosch was in here he's in the chat also.
John, look what you're doing to people. No, are you on the Jonathan Taylor side? Because we have decided to start arguing about this with Bosch and Bob is that, I get the value argument for Pitts. Here's the thing. 5 out of 12 teams are going to be willing to trade Pitts at that value with you. Like 11 out of 12 will trade you Jonathan Taylor at that value. That's different. That's a different proposition. You want the Jonathan Taylor side because more teams are willing to pay the exact same amount. Outside of that value side, it kind of leans Williams is going to jump this offseason. Pitts is what Pitts is. Get back in here, Bosch and Bob. Plus, you're getting a first. I don't know what you think. I just want the Jonathan Taylor side.
Yeah. Okay, so here's my problem. I love Jonathan Taylor. He's awesome as a player and as a fantasy asset. Ugh. Let's pretend it's next. Yeah, Bob showed up. Pitts.
Hey,
it's next year. Melvin Gordon's gone. How much less is Javonte Williams scoring than Jonathan Taylor every single week? 4 points a game?
I don't even care.
But that's why
it's about the value in the offseason, and they're both young, so I get that they're both going to elevate probably into the top 12. Because even if Melvin Gordon isn't gone, everyone's going to believe he's gone.
Yes, in which case,
can just take it as read.
I'll take that. At this point, we're considering a small step back to Javonte Williams. In which case, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm taking the Pitts side, just because at any given point you can trade Pitts away for so much, and you still have Javonte Williams in a first.
Yeah, here's what I'd say though. This trade looks like you're not trying to win right now because the things you would be getting are about the future. I think that's what you're saying, right, Russ?
Well, I mean, Pitts is
he's playing fine. Yeah, he's going to produce. Yeah.
He's finally starting to do what everyone thinks he's going to do. Is that going to be that way the whole season? I hope not, because I want Ridley to catch some of that.
Probably the volume's been there the whole season. He's going to.
I know, but it's finally coming together. So, but I mean,
but it doesn't matter as much as Jonathan Taylor's points because he's a running back. That's the thing. And what I would say is, if you're trading for value, this is good. Yeah, it's fine.
Yes,
but go get Jamar Chase instead. You can get Jamar Chase for Jonathan Taylor and Ayuk. I'm pretty sure. And again, 12 out of 12 teams want Chase. I think the smart, good teams in your league, to give Bob and John a break here, will also want Pitts just as much. But I think also the dumb teams want Chase. So there's just a wider market. That's the way I'm phrasing it these days. Even then, though, isn't Jonathan Taylor worth this much? Like, he'll be the Dynasty running back 1, 2 at the same time when these are the tight end 1 and running back 12.
What is the... Okay, so he didn't say tight end premium, which hurts a little bit. But what do you think right now? What is the price difference between CMC and Travis Kelce?
I don't know a way of answering that.
Because I mean, that's kind of almost what we're talking about.
Kind of. That's not a bad way of putting it. Yeah.
The difference is these two guys we're talking about are young, and the thing is, let's pretend we're in a startup. We're in a startup right now of a super flex, and again, ADP draft capital in a startup is a very small, if even a part of trade value, because it doesn't always calculate that way. Like you were saying before, age plays a weird part in startup value much more than it does in trade value. But JT is going to be mid first round, probably. You're going to get that string of 5-6 quarterbacks. JT is going to be the first non-quarterback taken. How many picks until Pitts gets taken? I don't think it's another 12. And if that's the case, Javonte Williams and a first to get up to less than 12 startup picks, even if it's in the second and first round, I think it's there. And I think points-wise, as long as you are starting Williams and Pitts, I think your starting lineup is still fine. So the more I talk, the more I'm talking myself into the Javonte Williams, Pitts, and the
Yeah, I
first.
get it.
Also, because I do just believe in Javonte Williams being.
Oh
good.
yeah, I do too. Yeah, it's fine value wise. I just go get Jamar Chase.
Go get Jamar Chase. Yeah, I mean that's fine.
It's a value price thing. The value is what the person who has it is willing to pay to have it. And the price is what other people are willing to give them to get it off them. And with running back and wide receiver, they're almost 1-to-1. With tight end, it's very unbalanced. Oh, sorry. That was a complete accident. I was just trying to gesticulate evenly. We got the warning label up. But yeah, the best traders I know will tell you to take the Pitts side.
Yes. Oh my God, yes.
Include Marissa.
I would trade Myers and St. Brown and 2 seconds for Ridley. Yes.
Could I do it for you? I'd do it right now.
Seriously, yeah.
Send us a link. Put it in the chat there. We'll do it.
Yeah, we'll do it.
Just for the thrill of doing it. Mixon and Cup for 12-team Dynasty PPR. Mixon or Cup. Just value or start sit. Yeah, you just go wide receiver there, I think. If it's value or a trade.
We just read this, didn't we? Or did you go back?
Yeah. He must have been frustrated because we're really far behind, by the way.
We are. Yeah. This is like a record.
Sorry, man. I didn't mean to keep you up this late. Tyler Reeves, what do you think of the value between Jamar Chase and AJ Brown would be? Chase is significantly higher because he's new and shiny.
If you can do 1-for-1, I do this. I love AJ Brown as a player. You are going to have to accept that AJ Brown is going to miss like 2 games every year. And we haven't seen that with Chase.
I don't know that for a fact at all, which is why I'm willing to do it. But I get that that's where the value difference comes from.
Yes, that is absolutely what it is. Chase is the wide receiver one now. I mean, I just read the September ADP where AJ Brown was the wide receiver one. It's not going to stay that way.
Here's the thing. On Twitter.
Wait, it's like October 27th. What is DLF doing that we don't have October Superflex ADP?
I don't know.
Oh, yeah, I'm still doing the mock right now. That answers the question.
Someone compared Jamar Chase to Calvin Ridley, and for the first time in my life, when I saw that comparison, I didn't laugh out loud. I don't believe it, but like that's where the market is on Chase. Like even the most jaded of us are like Chase, pretty cool.
Right, I just pulled up,
and that's the difference. He's just hot and pretty freaking good. No, I'm not
in October, 1 QB ADP. Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, DK Metcalf, Devontae Adams, Jamar Chase, Tyreek Hill, AJ Brown. So it's 2 wide receivers apart, an ADP apart of 4 spots. And what's the next month? Once November ADP rolls around, Jamar Chase is going to move up. And AJ Brown most likely won't unless he does what he did this past week another 2 times.
We're moving on. Jacob Calloway asked another 2 times. Sorry, man. We really must be taking our time getting to you. Hopefully you stick around. Mitchell Grandy asked if he should hold Rashad Bateman, and yes, you should.
No, hold Bateman.
Bateman worth more than Tony, and the second's just catnip to try and tempt you. Like they know it.
Yeah, no, I don't see a reason to do that.
I've lost my place. Let's see. Tyler Reeves, AJ Brown or Chase. Didn't we do this one?
Are we getting like punked or something? Or are you just bad at this game?
No, I think we're just taking so long that people ask in. Like, did they get my questions? Sorry, I'm trying. Hey, welcome in. DJ Moore plus a first for a 2024 first and Swift and Tony. DJ Moore side.
DJ Moore side.
DJ Moore side. And also, why are so many people trading 2024 picks? They don't even turn up for my league yet.
Yeah, it's so weird. Wait, what year are we in? Yeah, none of my leagues are 24 first yet. That's
cool.
We just want people in those leagues. That's why they're so willing to throw them away.
Because I'm not going to be here. Like, I might die. Who knows?
The world's going to end by then.
Yeah, right. Apocalypse is upon us. Caleb Dante, Miles Sanders, and a 2022 first for Joe Mixon. Are you winning? Yes. Are you competitive? No. Are you losing? No. You?
I don't want to do that. I get that Joe Mixon is producing more than Miles Sanders. You'll never be able to feel good putting Miles Sanders in your lineup. I would rather find a cheaper way to fix my running back situation than throwing away a first to move up to Joe Mixon.
I know a lot of people were
twist his ankle,
talking about how great Miles Sanders were, and they're going to keep talking about how great Miles Sanders should be until they think it's been long enough that you forget that they touted him this off. Like, I think he's been held up a little too high. Same with Joe Mixon, but Joe Mixon's top 12, not top 8. It's a different type of thing. Just throwing it out there. Like, I think the hype on Sanders is still around because they're blaming the Eagles right now.
I would rather go pay 2 seconds to go get Cordero Patterson instead of doing this trade.
Yeah. Henderson, James Robinson, Patterson, sure, throw him in there. Those are the running backs to target. Joe Mixon's fine. Keep starting him. First time popping in. Really appreciate it, bud. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry we're so slow. We like talking about every single question. That's our problem.
Well, man, every question is about Higgins and Ridley, so I'm in my happy place.
Can we elaborate on what indicators we look for or to look for when to trade down to a tier to gain additional pieces? Trading Adams for Higgins plus. Yeah. Overall, it's an understanding or my own assessment on the height of their production, their upside, if you will. So are there indicators? Well, yeah, the best indicator is what have they done in the past. Adams has been perpetually difference-making wide receiver for multiple years. Higgins has been a top 24 wide receiver with an above average, but not an elite level rookie profile. And so I just think of him as a slightly lower tier. Like he doesn't have that in its range of outcomes. Having said that, there are many in that tier right now who I never thought would do it, which is why I'll admit Higgins could very well be that guy. So I don't have set indicators. It's more just my feeling on their upside for the future, but I do look at what a player has done so far. I tend to find that wide receivers especially break out at their level, which is not 100% true, but it's a pretty good guide. If a wide receiver breaks out to be like a top 24 wide receiver, like wide receiver 15 and really good and awesome, that tends to be where their production plateaus. Not always. Kevin Ridley, for example, he kind of broke out at 24 and he rose up to top 12 last year. So it can happen. It's just it happens less often than a wide receiver breaking out like Jefferson and Chase did. They don't do it in the first year, but they tend to break out kind of closer to their ceiling, close enough to their ceiling that you can take it as read. Not always, because again, Higgins could definitely outplay that. But that's my first guiding principle or indicator. Russ, do you have anything?
Man, you said everything I was about to. So, I mean, since we're falling behind, just if you like the player, if you think they're good, then yeah, that's good enough for me.
John Bosch lets me know he's watching from my Twitch channel. I appreciate it. Hat tip, my man. Hello, boys. He's got a way. Doesn't John Bosch have a way about him? Just the way he says, hello, boys. I already feel like ashamed of myself. He's like a schoolmaster, you know? Like where your headmaster would... I know. He's an adult.
America, they're principals.
He's an adult. I thought I'd get older and I'd meet all these adults, and instead they're all just idiots like me. And then occasionally you meet a John Bosch, and it's like, oh look, I remember adults. It's John. Kev Wheeler, keep Hurts over the guys mentioned.
TA7 baby, whoop whoop.
Or trade for Tua.
Yes,
don't just tank, trade for Tua. Spot 498, Teddy Bridgewater for Derek Carr.
Yep.
Okay.
I would do it just because I think the floor of Carr is higher than Bridgewater, and the ceiling is probably the same between the two of them. So,
is he saying get Derek Carr? Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
I think he's more likely to keep his job. Minshew. Okay. Yeah.
No context. Just
Minshew. Superflex. Minshew forever, baby. Bobby Koch. Kev Wheeler. Chase is going to draw coverage away from Higgins. Yes.
Yep.
In the same way that Lamb draws coverage away from Cooper, but I mean, I think that can be true and also exaggerate an effect on fantasy.
I mean, that's also why they are using Higgins in the way they are, by letting one go deep, the other one stay low, because he drags the safety across the way.
It tends to balance out. And not to make the second Calvin Johnson reference in one episode, but again, Calvin Johnson, I'm pretty sure, was dragging as much coverage as anyone can drag, and still there were top 24 wide receivers next to him because no one else was Calvin freaking Johnson. And same with Tyreek Hill. Do you not think they're throwing coverage? Yeah, it's true, but it tends to be most relevant when you don't have whatever talent is in that wide receiver 1, and the wide receiver 2 can kind of take off a little bit. I think that's where it gets more relevant. I don't think Chase has that problem. I think he can take the coverage and still be the most productive on the team.
Correct.
That doesn't mean Higgins is bad. This is a good thing.
Higgins is, yeah, and also Higgins is probably, at least in my head, the most talented wide receiver of those other receivers you mentioned. Like,
sure.
I think Higgins is better than Golden Tate, for example.
Although Tate's awesome in his own right, but
very different wide receivers. Well, though with this, technically they're trying to use Higgins like Tate right now, get him in short and let him do stuff after the catch, which Tate was just so good after the catch. But keep going.
It is actually the part that not worries me, but does still have me puzzled about Higgins, about Ayuk and Debo. Debo getting the volume I saw, even being top 12, I kind of could see a path to that. I don't get why Higgins, Ayuk hasn't been able to draw any volume to himself. Like, there should still be a role for him in that offense. That is a slightly weird note.
He just seems to stop liking people.
No, I think it's more he likes bad players for the longest time. But
that's
Joannis, I agree. At Wheeler, T. Higgins, Chase. Okay, see now Joannis is talking to us.
Whack-a-mole defenses. I love that.
I know, she's pretty cool. Bosch, if you add a little bit to Ridley, maybe you can get a hit. Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, Bosch, value trolling us. Not trolling us, value checking us. Yeah, this is actually probably true. Ridley probably does have less value. It's just a thing I'd be willing to exploit. Goodwin plus, I agree. Tyler Reeves, 2 and 5. Do we move on from CNC? Trade him for whatever you can get, man. And trade him for everything, actually. It should be worth it. Caleb Durant, I'm a contender with a running back core of Taylor, Mixon, Harris, Henderson. Go win. Should I ride Henderson? Yeah, I would go win. Yeah, I would keep Henderson because anything can happen. Great flex. Go win.
Henderson will be fine next year.
Yep. Tyler Reeves, who could I target to get back, or do I not?
There has to be an earlier.
Who do I target for CMC? Well, I can tell you, in a super flex, I traded CMC. I put CMC in a deal to get Lamar Jackson because he's not going anywhere, and he's high priced and he's high value because he's a super flex. That's what I do. Go look for another core asset in a different position, that you might be willing to get. I mean, Pitts apparently is that guy, or Kelsey, or Chase, or any of the quarterbacks we've mentioned that is in that tier for you. So I keep saying make your own lists, because I mean my list might differ from yours, and that's perfect.
As long as we're not talking those top 3-5 quarterbacks, any other player is in the talks for trading away CMC.
Yeah, definitely fair. Yeah. I got a tier. Yeah. Caleb, we just covered this one.
Keep going.
Pitts.
We are really far behind still.
I'm trying, man. I haven't left. You never leave. You're an adult. JT worth nothing in 2 to 3 years. For sure. Is Mixon worth something in 2 to 3 years? Because that's the trade we were talking about. Come on. Kev Wheeler, give me Williams and Pitts upside. Yeah, everyone's agreeing with you and John Bosch and Bob. I just hate you all. Joannis Sanchez, yes, Pitts. Everyone was agreeing while we were having that conversation.
Wait, no, hold on. Go back a second.
JT has gone a lot sooner. I believe it. I just think I'm trading him away this offseason. I'm not planning to keep him for 3 years. I think there are more teams interested in trading JT this offseason. I'm not keeping a running back. Are you crazy? You think I'm stocking up running backs over here? Come on.
Joanna said that Javonte over Najee. She was saying Javonte will be the best running back in the 21 class. That's pretty bold.
That is bold. I could see it, though. JT's, again, we blame coaches when we can't explain usage based on how much we like him, and everyone's up in arms about Jonathan Taylor's usage. Maybe he's not as consistent as we think. Bosch said, check Twitch comments. I'm checking all of them. Why do you think I'm still here?
Because they don't realize how far behind we are.
They don't realize how bad I am at this. Appreciate you, Bob. Thank you. Dustin R's offered Hooper Michelle. Michelle has value. Cool.
Sony?
And 2022 first. No. I want the fan side, is what I'm saying.
So that's a first for fan to the second. Yeah, go do that. That's fine.
Appreciate it. How do I get off of Tyler Boyd? Why? Why not just enjoy the ride to the end at this point? I don't think many people give him anything.
You're pretty much at the end of the ride at this point.
He's going to have other good games. He's a very good player. He's not about to become decrepit. And despite Higgins and Chase, occasionally he'll have a good game. Yeah, for sure. Think Landry this year, but without the injury. He'll have a good game. Most of the time he's not. He's a good player. Still is. Spock, sorry, another Ridley question. How can I acquire Calvin Whitley? The opposite of the things we said, probably. My wide receivers are AJ Brown, Cooks. Trade Cooks for him. Cooks or Robinson or OBJ or Juju or Mooney. Anyone below AJ
Honestly,
Brown.
Trade, offer Cooks, Robinson, and Juju for Ridley.
Put them together with a first and go get him. That's my default answer. Depends what you've got and what they want. But yeah. Did you have something different? Maybe I'm just spam. Maybe I'll just spam. He still thinks we were just ignoring him, by the way. I don't know what emote this is. I think that's a ninja emote, maybe.
It kind of looks like the Joker.
Yeah, it looks like the Joker, but I'm thinking Twitch, green hair on a ninja changes his hair all the time.
Oh,
missed my DJ Moore question. Clicked on it,
ninja.
But didn't address it. What was it?
I feel like we answered DJ Moore questions.
We did, but Toronto Dave asked us this one. DJ Moore in Juju and a first. Yeah. Juju and a first, Christian Kirk.
Go get your guy. I don't care. Yes, I would do that. You could probably do it without Christian Kirk, but if it takes Christian Kirk to go get DJ Moore, I'm fine with it. Because I don't think Christian Kirk will ever be consistent enough to feel good about putting in your lineup.
But DJ Moore's going to say is that someone getting that offer might feel like they're being offered like a package for a player. And like Russ was saying, sometimes you just want the side with less players on it. That's a thing. But yeah, I would definitely do that trade.
Yeah, start with Juju first, see how it goes.
DJ Moore is like a discount top 12 wide receiver because he might not get, and that goes back to what I was saying about breaking out a level. DJ Moore looks like he should have hit a higher level, but he still keeps being a top 24 guy. Sometimes you win even when you lose on that type of.
Dude just needs to score more than 3 touchdowns in a year. I mean, he got them out of the way early this year, which sucks.
I'm desperately trying to find. Oh, the Ninja emote will help me. That's where we are. And this one. So if I'm trading Christian McCaffrey, do I trade handcuff too? I have Mixon, Javonte Williams, Khalil Herbert. So no running back in return. I don't force myself to get the handcuff. If I can, at some point I will. And like a dynasty league's a little like a redraft league that's been going for 5 years. So there's value in adding the handcuff.
Like if you're saying you have Chuba, it helps trades to add them along.
Yeah.
But if you can get away without doing it, that's awesome.
Yeah, keep Chuba. I mean, yeah, perfect. Dustin does appreciate all you guys do for the community.
We appreciate you, Dustin.
I think he's talking about you because I mostly just exist. I don't do much.
That's enough. That's all you got to do, Peter.
Thank you, Russ. Thanks, guys. Really appreciate both of you. Appreciate you too, man. Joris. I can't speak English. I'm sorry, buddy. I'm trying to get rid of Dalvin Cook on a dumpster team. Etne and Bateman. I mean, it's
that's very far off to me.
Yeah, it's real low, but you're getting Bateman at least, but it's low. It's low.
I don't feel good about any of that. Like there needs to be a solid something added to that to make me even want to do it. Especially because if we're sitting here saying that J-Rob is still going to be a thing
I think J-Rob's the guy next
that means ETN won't be as much of a thing as you need him to be to make this trade work.
I think plenty of people who don't feel that way about James Robinson would find this fairer. If you were looking for other opinions. But for me, get out of here.
That's very far off.
But do trade Dalvin Cook, get rid of Cook, and if you're getting Bateman, I would work on trying to get it to work. Waves of Glory, sponsored podcast, guys. First time on a live show, so didn't realize every message shows up. But
that's just a Peter thing that doesn't always work.
That's just me. I like talking. Talking to you all. Another question in Superflex PPR. What do you think we can get for Thielen? I just traded that was Lockett. I just offered a first and a team where I'm winning or I want to win. I offered a first to the Thielen owner, but the Lockett owner said yes first. I mean, that's what you can get from
I think you get Thielen for a first. I think.
Yeah, Thielen for a first. That's what I hold on to him for as well. Like Thielen's good. Don't worry about team all guy stuff. Trying to sell CMC, the best offer I have received is Sean Watson. Would you wait it out because of the risk? Bob,
Yep.
Like, doesn't he own the Dynasty trade calculator? He doesn't need. It just feels like this is he's setting me up to fail. I don't want Watson. I don't.
Yes, I wait. If that's your best offer, then don't take it, because CMC, even if it's next season, CMC will come back and he will gain his value back. So no, I don't do that.
Yeah, I just want Watson, which would save me from that. But yeah, you can get better trade offers later. Just tell him that.
Oh boy, that plus is Cole Kmet. Absolutely not.
It's just not.
Javonte Williams
No, we're talking genuinely. Switch ETN out with Swift. I'm interested.
Yeah, that's how far off you are.
That's how
Javonte
far
Williams
off.
in a first is still like a first short at least.
Yep. No problem. But Spot Brandon Cooks for what picks for Ridley? I mean,
First
my
and second.
default is throw a first on it, see if they accept. But John
I don't
Boss
think
says
Cooks in a
not to
first
do
is getting
that,
you Ridley
so
unless someone wants out.
it's not. So you're
First and
it's
a second
almost
and Cooks
too
for
low.
Ridley.
It's almost too
that'll get it
low
done.
to add one thing to. Two first, yes, yeah.
I think a
that
first,
would
a
do
second,
it,
and
but that's
Cooks.
too much. But that's too much.
First and a second for Cooks. I think that's good.
Okay, try that. First and a second for Cooks.
First,
Maybe.
a second, Cooks for Ridley. Those
No
three
problem,
things for
Tyler.
Ridley. I think that'll do it.
What could I trade for ETN? Outside of a team specifically targeting him as a buy low running back, you're holding. That's my opinion.
If you can get a first value, I take it.
Yeah, but yeah, I think if you send that out, most teams reject it. But send it out. Yeah, ask for a first. Superflex trying to make a push for a win now. Peter, why are you so awesome?
He tricked you into reading that.
Did.
Yes, Dave. Yes, Dave.
He did. I can block people. I just found this handy little button. Watch yourself, Dave. Tyler Reeves, do I trade Christian McCaffrey for Joe Mixon on a first? That's still
or Joe Mixon first. Like, who does he get rid of first?
Oh, sorry, I'm reading this so badly at this point.
CMC, because Mixon's scoring you points, unless you don't want to score points, in which case you trade Mixon first.
I don't think you're under any pressure to trade Christian McCaffrey. His value only increases from here because eventually he's going to be healthy, and then it's the off season, so people are less scared. Or then maybe he plays a game. Like, I don't feel a pressure to trade CMC. Mixon, on the other hand, could get injured next week and his value drops
significantly. Mixon getting hurt again, his value will drop significantly. I think people are at that point where they're.
So if I was trying to come up with an answer, I might say Mixon, but CMC is going to be so easy to trade. You come up with anything decent, people mostly accept it. It's Christian McCaffrey. People do remember that. And they should. Like, I'm not saying and they're dumb for doing it. You should want Christian McCaffrey if you're on a good team that's rolling it over, could play in the playoffs this season and is competitive next year already. You should want Christian McCaffrey. It's not a bad thing.
Yeah, I think so.
Swift or Harris? Najee? Harris?
Yeah, I think so.
That's a better
It's
question.
close.
Yeah, they're real close for me.
I'll take Harris just based on the usage. Like, we know Najee's the guy. We've seen Detroit be weird. And
I mean, Swift is, for me, they're back to back. In this tier, it's a kind of thing where I'm like, which do you like watching better? Like, honestly, you could just bring it down to that. I think fantasy-wise, they're equal value.
Like,
if you like Detroit better than Pittsburgh, go that way.
Yeah, I mean, let's say what it is. Their value, let's pretend their value is literally exactly the same, and you send that trade to like both of those teams, this magical amount for Swift or this magical amount for Harris. Whoever hits first, yes, I'm fine. Like, either way, I'm happy.
Or it's honestly, which one do you get more enjoyment out of, or which team do you like better? Like, I have no answer to this, to be real clear. I would make a decision if I had to, and I'd probably lean Swift because I'm feeling pretty confident of his receiving usage. And I hate Pittsburgh now because they killed Juju. So
I just hate Pittsburgh. I hate the Steelers.
Yeah,
but I still think, at the end of the season, when ADP comes out, Najee will be ahead of Swift. Which is weird because I think Swift might even be the same.
Just because people love running backs, Not that Swift isn't, but Najee is more. That's what he does most of. Yes. And Swift is half and a half, and I prefer that. So, okay, that's the idea.
Two more questions.
People are talking to us. Okay, I like it. I enjoy it. Spot. Should I drop James White in Dynasty? Hold. Yeah, just hold.
What are you picking up right now that's better than what James White will be when he comes back next year, when he's going to get the exact same role, because he'll never lose that role until he
don't be
decides that he doesn't want
afraid
it
to
anymore.
drop him, but only if there's something really that you're interested in rostering. Like, there's no reason to drop White just to drop him. Most of the times, you're not going to find anyone better. That sounded like bad dating advice. Stick with what you've got. You're not going to find.
Wow, you just straight up
there.
Skip Dave. That's what you did. Like,
yeah.
It's a real question, though. It's a real question, though. It's a question. I read it. It's a real question.
Serious question. What would you need on the top of a second for Visca? I don't want Visca. So you got anything?
What would you need on top of a second for, like, if I'm trading away Visca, I want more than a second. 2 seconds is enough. Yes, I would much be happier with a first, but with the way he's playing now, I mean, like, imagine if Urban Meyer is gone next year and then there's an intelligent coach that comes in and uses him the way he should be. And Visca's awesome.
I would trade 2 seconds away for Visca, and I've got no interest in rostering him. Like, I don't. He's definitely worth more than 2 seconds. Or he's worth. Yeah,
is he right now?
That's what I mean, though. If whoever has him was willing to give LaVisca to me for 2 seconds, I'd do it, and I don't even want him. So yeah, that's probably too low if you're trying to trade for him. So it's a first, and I don't do it for that.
All right. What's hilarious is that Bosch was actually texting me when we weren't answering his questions fast enough, but my phone was on Do Not Disturb, so I didn't even see that.
I didn't get a message. I guess I'm not important enough. Tyler Reese, 2 and 5, but my team is 12. Superflex includes Tannehill, Burrow, CMC, Mixon, AJ Brown, Ridley, Myers, Boyd, gonna guess Javonte Williams, and Waller. Show off. What do I do? It's a good question.
2 and 5 with my team.
It depends on your league, man. You can actually go either way with this team. Even at 2 or 5, with that roster, you can actually probably push to win, but you've got to win most games from here on out, which means going and trading out for a big boy running back more than Robinson, more than Henderson. You're going after Henry. And that's your first burn. Or you can go the other way and say, you know what, screw it, I suck. And sell CMC, sell Mixon. Move on.
Yeah, here's what I would do. I would trade CMC and Tannehill for an upgraded quarterback and a lower running back. Like, if you can go and get...
That's probably a better path.
I almost said Burrow, even though you have him on your team. That's over Tannehill. But, I mean, hold on. Let me throw the QBs up here. Like, if you can get...
Tua and James Robinson?
Tua, Aaron Rodgers and James Robinson? Yeah, absolutely.
You found a middle path when I said there was 2. I don't like it very much.
Yeah, absolutely, because you're going to compete and you'll be fine next year. So
yeah, you're doing both at the same time. That's a smart play. Do what he said.
Also, if you can still get someone that's willing to, good night, the trade on the name value of Waller, because I am legitimately concerned that volume is not coming back.
Why?
I would find that guy you like. He loves Fant. I love Hawkinson. If you can move down a little bit and get a little on top, I'm all for that.
Yeah, we probably don't have time to get into it, but I haven't thought about it much. I just assume a player is their volume, if you know what I mean. Is there like a reason that you're really concerned about Waller? I don't know.
He's not getting... let's face it. He went from like a 30% market target share to like 20, in which case it's still really good, but he's at least either he's not getting as much and he's not doing what he used to do with it.
Sneaky buy, in my opinion, if you're making a run. Damian Harris. Yeah, that's a good name. He's worth a second, though. We were talking about first.
Well, also Homer. But yeah, I don't know. I never feel safe starting Damian Harris.
Yeah, that's the thing. He's worth a second. He's probably not going to have a role next year, whereas we think Robinson and Henderson will or should. But yeah,
yes.
Yeah. It's worth throwing a second at. So who are Najee's backups? Najee's backup is Najee, but with a limp.
Yeah, you're not going to be happy about any of that. Chances are, if Najee gets hurt, it's going to be all 3 of those guys.
Thing is, everyone thinks Najee Harris is just producing because the team sucks, so they're throwing all this volume at him. But
he's good.
The volume will just disappear if Najee isn't there, and the team will suck entirely. What he's doing in this offense is actually pretty impressive. That's why he's the high price down. He's doing a great job. Yeah. It's not he's getting all that volume because he's good on a terrible team. there's a slightly different mix of the calculation there. Most people think he's a product of the volume, but he actually also is a cause of it.
Right.
And the team sucks. So
talent earns you the work.
Well, volume's all that matters. The running backs, some running backs literally can't create that volume or earn that volume. And McFarland, Snell, and Borledge, I don't think do.
Nope.
John Bush, finally answering your question. I say, tell Russ to go to bed and send me a links. I can talk trades all night, or we just go lose to kids better at video games than us. I gotta go, Russ. I gotta go get shot. Waller, Deontay Johnson's for
don't finish that.
Dix.
Next question. Next.
Deontay.
There you go. Diggs.
It's Diggs. Waller, Deontay Johnson for Diggs and Schultz. Okay. Yeah, I think we answered that. I like Diggs. Rondo Dave, when to forgo this season and play for next season? I pretty much had it's up to you, but I had a pretty good sense by week 3 where I wasn't going to compete and where I was.
That's the real answer. Week 3 or 4, you kind of know, but if you're middle of the pack right now, it's very league dependent. Look who's above you. Are they above you because they deserve to be there, or because of the schedule, or that kind of stuff? But yeah, I'm always a fan of pushing till next year just because it means more trades, and more fun trades. So you can still trade for players that are scoring points. You can still trade for players that are old.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the people that are situational right now for your team and for the people you're trading with. So see what's out there. See what the rest of the teams in the league are doing. The trades you can get done more easily or get better value off of, that'll dictate which direction you go.
The best indicator outside of a good sense, everything Russ said is literally the answer, but also if you're looking for something to help guide you, if you're on My Fantasy League, go to, what is it, Leagues,
Reports,
Power Rank?
Reports,
League,
standings, Power Rank. Yes, that gives you a lot of different views of how people stand in the league. All play.
On the far right, look at all play. It tells you the percentage of all games you would have won if you played everyone in the league each week.
Potential points, how much you suck at setting lineups, which is always my problem.
If you're over 60%, if you're over 50, or even better, if the top 3 are over 80%, just quit. You're done. Those 3 teams have something different.
It's funny. I had one team in the Dynasty Diagnostic Championship League where my efficiency at starting lineups was 98%. And it was literally because I did not have a bench player ever worth starting.
Didn't have one.
I traded every ounce of depth for a starting lineup and came in second place 2 years in a row. That's so I blew the team up because I got angry.
It's still a thing. I have sat very few points this year, and some leagues I'm doing okay in, but it's mostly because my depth sucks. It's real easy to be good at setting that lineup. I think we're actually at the end here, Russ. There's no need to go through the things that I had planned for us to talk to, because those questions.
We didn't have anything planned for us to talk to.
I have a whole list of players that
there was nothing on there when I checked.
We were gonna go through it. Not on the sheet. It's on mine.
Oh, not on the sheet you shared with me where we put the topics we normally talk about on a separate place that I didn't know. Okay.
There's no way out of this for me. It doesn't matter that it's true. There's no way out of this for me, because everything I say will just feel like I'm digging a bigger hole. I'm going to share my screen. Share my screen. I just closed it. Now what does it sound like? I literally just closed it. We're out of here. I guess, Russ, you got anything? Do we have an official end for this show? We really appreciate it. You all.